So right after my coaching session with Jeremy, before actually, I had emailed Tony to let him know that I was doing this like documentary-ish, very loosely, about my progress and my journey with USTLA. And it was really more or less asking for permission to make sure that I didn't violate any kind of student USTLA agreement, and letting him know that I'm not divulging all the proprietary steps, but telling you the what, not necessarily the how, but the what, and then sharing my feelings, my emotions, my progress, my failures, my experience with you guys, so that you can figure out if maybe this is something that's a good match for you. It's so hard to find reviews online that are truly honest, and I'm sorry, but like a 10-minute, 5-minute review is just not going to show you really what it takes to be successful in the system. It doesn't show you the hurdles and the valleys, and you know, it'll tell you, it usually shows you the mountaintops and the successes. But with every successful endeavor, there's always those valleys. That is the natural cycle. And it is hard for people, especially those that aren't entrepreneurs and haven't been in that entrepreneurial world, to understand that there are mostly failures, and from those failures you learn and iterate and then relaunch, and that is where successes come from. But you know, there's really no such thing as a, you know, overnight success. You know, you work 20 years and then you're an overnight success. That's what everyone sees, is that last part, but they don't see all the pre-work, the pre-game that goes into it. And so I wanted to tell Tony that, you know, that I'm putting this out there, and my hope is that I will get people that are interested, and they will be able to make an informed decision based upon my experience and kind of see the flow and culture of the program. And then also, hey, I might just be able to attract some people that were like, I don't really want to take the time, but I have the funds, and therefore then I can start like generating some investors, some interest from investors who would want to just partner with me. And so I was asking him over email if I could get his blessing, and he's like, well, let's just have a chat. It'll be easier to just have a chat, so let's schedule over the phone. So we did. And we chatted about that, and he was totally on board and thought that that was, you know, an amazing plan and project. And I'm like, hey, it is not professional. Like, I'm reviewing as I'm loading videos, and I see somehow someone gave me gum. Like, what? You don't chew gum while you're doing videos? I'm like, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I can't redo them because they were like back in Alabama, and I can't like keep them out of the uploads because they're important. And so anyway, I'm just gonna have to put an asterisk down in the description and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I apologize for the gum chewing, I know better now. And then also that vertical video, right? In the beginning, it's like, you don't know what you don't know, and I'm just trying to put it into action, and I'm gonna make mistakes, and I appreciate you guys giving me some slack about that. But Tony was very encouraging, and then I went into it and said, hey, these are some of my concerns I have. I'm 3 coaching sessions away from being out or done with my program, and I did my one-on-one, and I'm like, Simon, he was teaching me, you know, Florida and the quick sale approach, and then I have Jeremy who's teaching me Alabama, which is all about renting and Section 8 exclusive, and they aren't contradictory. The processes aren't contradictory, but they focus and emphasize different things. And one thing emphasizes A, and the other one emphasizes B, and A and B can be mutually exclusive sometimes. And so as a new student, I was just sharing with Tony, like, the confused mind says no. We all know that. When there are too many choices, like you go to Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors, and you're like, "Bleh." And then you go to a little place, and there's like 3, chocolate, strawberry, and, you know, vanilla. And it's just overwhelming sometimes to have all these choices. And you're getting down to the nuts and bolts of these two different strategies with these two different coaches, and they have two different ways of doing things that both work for them. Neither of them are wrong, but they're different. And it's so hard as a student to be like the very beginning, and it's that curse of knowledge where these experts, the gurus that have been doing it for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, they truly don't understand what it's like to get all of that knowledge taken away and get back to the original state of not, and understanding the feelings of not knowing and being so cautious about proceeding that it almost like paralyzes you. And a lot of people get stuck. That's why a lot of people, they buy these programs and they don't do anything. And then they're like, it's crap. It doesn't work. Well, no, they didn't work it. But the thing is we get stalled out because there's so much information coming in. And it's great that they serve us in this way, that there's so much information. And it's so valuable. But if we don't get just the small morsels at the very moment that we need it, everything else is just noise, and it adds to the confusion that ends up shutting our brain down because we get just paralysis of analysis, and then we just say, no, can't do this, up, and then like some other shiny object comes in. But we need to get some digestible pieces one at a time, get the action, implement. Then we get to step 2 and we need step 2's information. Then we get that and we digest it. And then we go to step 3. And I don't know if it's possible because these coaches don't have forever. They're investors too, and they've got families. So it's not like we could stretch this on for, like 12 months and do like 30 minutes for 20 sessions, or whatever. But I think the smaller, more digestible it really sets up the new students for the most success. But the recordings can act as that. So you get the fire hose in your face, and when you're getting the fire hose in your face, you get maybe like a couple. It's almost coming so fast that you just really, most of it's just rolling off your face. But because the recordings, you can go back and you glean from the recordings what you're needing in that moment. And so every time you re-listen, then you can actually hear what you're needing in that moment. And, it is wonderful to have like pre-recorded modules. Like they know the curriculum. So it would be great for me to have just, a course of modules giving me all the information, but in the step-by-step order. That is a lot of work. And I understand that not everyone is able to have that kind of, asset, right? And sell that and set that up for their students. But it would be so nice to have kind of a curriculum. And anyway, I digress. I was talking to Tony about this, and he was like, yes, and you need to tell your coach what you need, what you need to learn, what you need to know. What are your questions? What are your apprehensions? And it's like, yeah, that's fair. He's like, you need to be a more proactive student. And it's like, okay, I feel like I'm super proactive to the point where I'm like asking questions and not sure if they're going to be like, hey, listen, you asked too many questions. You're going to have to pay extra. We're going to charge you per question. And so I'm trying to also like balance the being respectful and not burning my resources. And he's like, no, you need to ask. And it's like, okay, yeah, okay. And then there's the questions that you don't even know that you don't know. And you don't know until you are faced with that step in the process. And there's so many programs that I've been involved with over the years where I've been so highly marketed to that this is just like the best thing since sliced bread. And you get into the curriculum, you go through the modules, you try to implement, and then there's no person there to like answer questions and to hold your hand through it, to pull you up through it. And so you end up just kind of stewing over it, and then you stall out, and then you're like, hey, this is not what it was represented. There's holes in this program. This is not a path to success. And so I have been burned by other programs, and they're great marketers, and their program was okay. And all Tony knows is his company. He knows how great his company is. He knows the integrity, and he knows the culture of his community, and he knows that he doesn't let students flounder. Active pursuing students that are looking to do the work, that have questions, he's not going to let them fail, right? But I don't know that as a new student. So he had to reassure me. And he's like, pretty much called me out and said that I was getting wound up. And that's true. I tried to hold back so that I could seem professional. But I got to make this work. I've invested so much money. I got to make this work. And it was so nice to get reassured that he wasn't going to let me flounder and fail. Like, if I put forth the effort and I show that I am working this, that he has the infrastructure in place, even after my sessions are done, to really care, to have that client care. So we'll see. We'll see if Tony puts his money where his mouth is. And I think he will. I think he will. He's been around this all this time. They haven't change their name every 5 years because the reviews are terrible and they just keep doing the shell game. No, he's been around. That really speaks to something. And I'm so super excited still, and it just really calmed me, and it reconfirmed that I am on the right path and that I have decided to partner with in education with the right company. So I'm grateful for that. This is just a piece of the journey, and I'm sharing, I'm being vulnerable. And I hope they don't mind me talking about it, but I think it's important. So I'm gonna keep trucking. I sent Jeremy a list of 12 questions. These are my biggest questions. And he said that we would go through them. I want a game plan. What's next for my houses? I want, do you have a flow chart? Do you have a spreadsheet, multi-generational with color codes? That'd be fabulous. And he doesn't have wiring like me. Jeremy said he flies by the seat of his pants, and I'm a super planner. And so there is beauty in flying by the seat of your pants, and there is beauty in the super planner. And we have to find how to recognize that beauty in the other wiring. And I'm trying. So until next time. And I'm freezing out here because it's still kind of the frozen tundra. See ya. Bye.